It's one of my favorite views of seeing the lake. This is, what's it called? Oh gosh, now I can't remember the name of this one. PJ Hoffmaster State Park, and it's in Norton Shores. And it's pretty wavy and windy today. I made a video on writer's block right at this little spot one time. Oh, it was only available to my patrons. It's a private link. So if you want to become a patron of mine, go to Patreon, patreon.com, and you can just give me like $2 a month, and I'll, like, I don't know. I don't use it that much, to be perfectly transparent. I want to use it more, but I keep using these like super public things where nobody pays me, and I just feel like a cloud or a ghost. I don't know. Not a ghost. I don't know how to describe it. I like feeling invisible, but I'm sure if I were an actual ghost, I wouldn't like feeling invisible. But I like feeling anonymous to some degree. When I was first out of college, I moved to New York, well, for grad school, and I did really like that feeling. And then after that, I lived in Chicago, and yeah, it feels very natural for me to feel very small. Anyway, speaking of small, being in nature helps me feel really small. These waves are pretty epic today. If you didn't know, Lake Michigan feels a lot like the ocean. When I was living in New York, I would take a train out to Montauk sometimes, and Montauk's very cool. And I would sit at the ocean and just try to listen for like what I should do with my life. There was one time when I was living in Chicago where I was really messed up. And I remember I took a long bike ride and ended up at Lake Michigan, you know, on the different side. Let's see here. I'm pointing that way is Wisconsin, and that way is Chicago. I wrote a song for Cloudlight about this once. I see doggies. Sort of how I've always been around Lake Michigan. The song's called Lake Michigan. But Lake Michigan, you know, growing up on the Wisconsin side, I never came to the actual state of Michigan. It's a pretty far distance. I live right at the bottom, just north of the Illinois border. And yeah, there was no, like, it wasn't common for people to come over to Michigan because Michigan is known for its nature, and so is Wisconsin. So we just did stuff all around Wisconsin. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, so ever since I was young, I've gone to the lake and just kind of, when I was on the Wisconsin side, I feel like I spent a lot of time just looking across the lake kind of like whimsically, like wanting to get away from something, and I think that's, you know, typical teenage stuff, but it could also be something about, I remember once I realized that I was on the side that only got sunrises instead of sunsets, I did want to get away. So, but I didn't come over here to Michigan until I was an adult. And yeah, we get great sunsets. Oh my gosh, I'm super distracted. The weather's pretty awful right now. I wasn't expecting this. And there have been people who I suspect are cooler than me and wondering why I'm talking to my own phone. But I try not to worry about that because, you know, if I knew why I wanted to do this, that would be awesome. But I don't know why I do this. But I like doing it. I guess that's why I do it. Okay. What else? I haven't been wearing makeup pretty much ever since my nephew said nice things about having pink dots in your skin. I mean, he was referring to just like the splashiness of like my skin on my legs, like, you know, as we were at the beach, but still, it was meaningful to me. I noticed it on Brian today too. I'm like, oh, that's just a look. That's just one of the looks. We don't talk about that look as a positive, but tons of people have that look of like super, super, super pale skin. But if irritated even in the slightest, even from just crossing your legs for a quick second, then it turns like tiny pink little dots. And then they go away. And then they come back. And then they go away. And then they come back. Like, whatever. That's what skin looks like for me. For my lifetime. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I don't know that I have anything to say today. I brought with my little Casio and my ukulele, and I thought it might be fun to write some songs. But the weather's pretty crazy. There's raindrops on the screen. I'm having to hold this really close because I'm guessing you can't hear me over these waves. Very cold. for mid-June, it's incredibly cold. Alright, well, so much for my adventure drive day. Oops. Yeah, I might still keep adventure driving, but this was supposed to just be stop one. Biggest downside of living in West Michigan, at least if you're not right in Grand Rapids, is that if you're a night owl like I am, then, you know, right now it's, I don't know, maybe almost 6 o'clock. And even though it's a Friday, things are going to start closing except for the bars and breweries. And so, like, if you were a city person like me for a long time, it just doesn't make sense with your natural rhythms. There's no, like, late night coffee shops all around here. I guess there's, like, diners. I could go to, like, a late night diner. But, like, I could also just go home then. Because my house is lovely. So I do miss cities sometimes because that spirit of adventure in terms of indoor places to go is kind of gone. Like everything closes so early or isn't open on Sundays or whatever. I don't know. Not everything is not open on Sundays. If it was, that would drive me crazy. Even though I'm not against people having a day of rest. Oh my gosh, what am I even talking about? Okay. See you when I make up a song perhaps. Bye! For anyone who thinks Lake Michigan is just a lake, like if you've never been to the Great Lakes are like little mini seas. Here's an example. Isn't that long ago that major ships were shipwrecked, and there's a Coast Guard in Grand Haven. This is Norton Shores, about 15 minutes north, but yeah, it's very, very, very beautiful here. When I first saw Michigan a long time ago, it's a long story, but when I first came here, I noticed how different it looked than Wisconsin. Now I can't remember what I was going to say. That's the name of this place. Fabulous frogs! Ah! Oh yeah, I remembered what I was going to say. When I first came to Michigan, even just to visit, I felt like I had just been to Hawaii. I've only been there once for like 6 days. Long story. Well, not really long story, just sad story. It was my honeymoon with my ex. Really bad experience, actually. Except for being in Hawaii. But anyway, when I first came to Michigan, I think right before that, by a year or two, no, I guess I didn't say this until after I'd been to Hawaii. But anyway, wow, I can't remember my own history. It's sad. Anyway, what am I talking about? Oh yeah, when I first came to, well, okay, so it wasn't when I first came to Michigan, it was later that I called this the Hawaii of the Midwest. So if you've never been to Michigan, it's very foresty. And unlike in Wisconsin, the trees here go up forever. I mean, not really, but I'll take you to more trees someday, but they're huge. These are not the hugest ones, but it's just a very, I mean, not huge like, you know, redwoods or something, but it's just an incredibly foresty area. Oh, there's Brian's car. We swap cars so that I'm using less gas. I try to only drive the minivan when we're carrying multiple people. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. Something about, I don't know. I don't know why I'm so irreverent and why I don't edit and why I even do these in the first place. But I don't even know who they're for, because I wouldn't watch all of this. Although I have watched quite a few of these. And for some reason, I mean, they're interesting to me, I suppose, because they're documenting things I've experienced, but who knows why why we do anything, I guess. I don't know. There's so many things I would never do with my life or my time. Not just because I'm scared, just because I'm not interested. And this was always something I was kind of scared of, doing YouTube. But I was always very interested. I kept circling back to it. Somebody told me that once. Ooh, hang on. I'll tell you this story, but I want to turn it around to my... Okay. Somebody told me this thing. What was it? Something like, you know, if there's something that you keep thinking about, like how I kept thinking over the years. Sorry, maybe you can see. Ooh, cool. So I kept thinking over the years that I wanted to make more YouTube videos, but then I didn't do it. You know, I had a YouTube channel. My old YouTube channel, by the way, is Jessica Fogle, which is spelled F-O-G-L-E. I think back then you didn't have to have a certain number of followers before they'd just give you your name. So I think you can just do youtube.com/Jessica Fogle. And you'll see my old music videos from when I lived in Chicago. Blah, blah, blah. They're actually kind of cute. One of them I worked up really hard on. But anyway, back to my other point. Wow, I'm really scattered today. Oof, I'm distracted. What was I going to tell you? It's really pretty here right now. Oh yeah, so if you keep circling around to an idea, then, you know, like for instance, when I quit playing soccer as a kid, my mom tells me that I used to just be out picking dandelions. I've told this before in a different YouTube video, but you're never going to find it because I have like 600 now and they're like way too long. Or they're just long. I try not to be shaming. I don't need to say they're way too long. Oh, they are. But I'm trying not to use shame language. Like if you want to shame me, go ahead, but I'm not going to also shame myself. I also tried to cut out the word should. Because there's very few things that we really should do. We can do a lot of things. And we cannot do a lot of things, but we don't, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Tangents. I can't even remember what I was talking about. This is like the third time. Normally I can find my way back a lot faster, but I'm really scattered today. I've had a very good day. Lots of good things have happened. So I don't know why I'm this scattered. Oh yeah. Soccer when I was a kid. You know, playing soccer. And then never when I got older did I wish I hadn't quit. You know, it was just like, according to my mom, I was picking dandelions on the field. And I I think I enjoyed it a little bit, but I definitely enjoyed dance a lot more. I did tap, jazz, ballet even at the end, but tap I loved, but I had flat feet, so I couldn't do it without my parents needing to like rub my feet or something. That was their story about that. I don't really remember that, but I know I liked it. But anyway, with soccer, I never thought twice about it. And so the saying that I had heard was, you know, if you keep circling in your mind back to something like, oh, I wish I would do YouTube videos, or that looks so cool that so-and-so does YouTube videos, or I wish I had the courage, or I wish I knew what to do, or I wish I could find an editor, or I wish blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all of those things are true. I could have still not been doing it, because I could have said, I don't have an editor, I don't know what to say or have it be about. I don't have the right equipment, I don't have blah, 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 blah. And it's like, many people would say, then don't do it. What's the point in wasting your time? But I feel actually much more alive having done it. I feel much more like all the things that I've spent my life accumulating, whether it's ideas, wisdom, music, skills, all of the time that I've put into all of these things, I now feel like there's a place that I've shared that part of myself instead of just hiding, which is what I previously had been doing. And so for me, it's nice, even in this sloppy way, to have it out there. I feel less afraid of, you know, I don't know, less like I haven't lived yet. Like, I feel like I'm living. And so, heaven forbid anything ever happens to me, I feel like all of this is out here. It's not like you can't know me. I don't know. That's sort of how it makes me feel. But other people would be like, ew, why would I want that? But that is something I've wanted my whole life. Ever since I was young, I've wanted to perform and share. I performed when I was a kindergartner. I sang a little song in front of my whole school by myself called Me and Myself and I. Me and myself. Me and myself. Me and myself and I. That's all I remember. Anyway, so maybe you can apply that philosophy too. If there's something you keep circling back to in your mind, like something you wish you would do or do more of, whether it's be in a band or take guitar lessons or go on more road trips, visit random states, visit random state parks, you know, even just visit the town next to you and just go exploring. I don't know if you've ever read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, but she talks a lot about two things that I both believe in, although I don't do either of them officially. But one she talks about is morning pages, and morning pages is just like what it sounds like. You just write in the morning, and it's just free writing for like 3 pages, I think she says, and you don't even have to read them. It's just to get it flowing. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe that's why I'm scattered. I think I'm having some allergies. Oh, and the other thing is she calls it an artist date. And so it's like, we all have like an inner artist or like an inner child. Oh!
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, am I interrupting?
I'm making a video. Do you want to be in the video? Probably not. Go ahead.
So, do I need a ticket to be in here? Am I doing something wrong?
Oh. Yes, but there wasn't anybody at the station. Yeah, it's just like it's like something that comes with your driver's license. So like you can get it just like for $10 at the DMV, I think.
Oh, so am I not allowed to be in here without that?
I doubt it's going to be a big deal. It's probably okay. Like, yeah, of course. Bye. That was someone needing to know about how to park. Now I don't know where I was. Oh my gosh, I'm so scattered. Normally I'm better with interruptions, but I'm just really out of it today. Oh yeah, Artist's Way. So going on an artist date is like taking yourself out. She says once a week, but who does that? And just going somewhere, like even if it's just like to a fabric store to like look at cute fabrics, like you don't even have to buy anything. It could be to a coffee shop, it could be to a movie by yourself, but she does say you should do it by yourself, which I find very interesting and strange. So, but it does work. It does help you kind of get in touch with parts of yourself that you may have accidentally blocked, like things that you love just for you. But it is a luxury. I mean, it's an incredibly luxury thing to be able to do. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I feel about this no makeup thing right now. And just talking this much and not even having anything to say. Welp, that's this video. I don't even need more check-in videos right now. I've been posting way too many, and there's too many to even ever watch, even for me to watch, let alone someone else who wants to just study a random human who's just obsessed with talking for no reason. All right, well, yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna write a song. Bye. Okay, here we go. Song time. Let's see. Okay, I don't know what I want to write about. You can go your own way if you want. No one can say what is best for you. Can make your own way if you need to. It's fine. I'm not like I wish we all could take hands and change the world, but I'm just a small little girl. I'm probably not changing anything at all, 'cause I'm so small. 'Cause I'm so scared and quiet and small, like a bowl that can't hold much at all. But should that bowl not hold anything at all, just 'cause it can't hold the world or much at all? If you're small, you're still big to someone, and I someone to you. I don't know if there's even a need to be anyone to anyone, anyone at all. We're all small, small, small. Small. There's literally no purpose to doing this. You know what's funny is I do think about purpose a lot, and there's a purpose for me doing this, and I make no money, by the way. The only thing I make money at is teaching piano, really. And back when I lived in big cities, I made money as an accompanist. But my hands are kind of shot from that anyway, because the peak of that mountain that I climbed was a high school accompanying job where I just shredded my arms and hands, and it was after I had healed them with acupuncture for years and other things. And so then my hands were better, but then I took that job and then they were bad again. So accompanying and teaching are the only ways I've ever really made music, and music directing in New York and some other small towns around the Midwest, Chicago too. But that was like stipend. You can't like live your whole life on a stipend for one show and then be unemployed again. And that's what the music directing world was like. You know, I'd have a big show, you know, an 800-seat theater in the Round in Indiana, and I'd be the music director, and that'd be like a 2-month job on a contract, and then it'd be done. And then you're unemployed again. And so that was like, and I had grad school debt, so it was like, nope. And so I couldn't keep doing that, and then I got into teaching piano. And now I teach piano, and I'm a mentor for songwriters, and I, you know, do other things, but it's all just kind of under the same thing of just like 30 to 45-minute lessons with me, and we do whatever that family or that student has hired me for, so. But this, all of what I do with music, like, obviously, I mean, I know that wasn't great. I was just making that up right now. And that's what I did back when I wrote 365 songs in 365 days. If you want to see those, type in Jessica in the Rainbow and then any number from 1 to 365, and you'll see they're all there. I think actually there were a few I couldn't find, but I'm sure if I went back in order. See, like, I can't even go back and listen to these. I tried putting them on a ton of albums, but it's just too much. And I don't mean that in a shaming way against myself. I mean that, like, it's too much for there to be an obvious purpose of any of it. But the purpose that I've found is that the purpose is personal. It's for me. For me, this is useful. It's a useful way to document my life. It's a useful way to share random thoughts. It's a useful way to have a creative process. And it's an outlet for my creative process. In the past, because I wrote so many songs, I was writing so many songs years before I did the 365 songs. But I had no outlet for them. So I had this little mini disc recorder. Hang on, it's in my pocket. I have to work on my ukulele talks that are buried in here. So I had this little mini disc recorder that would just come around with me everywhere. And like this thing, 2014, 2015, 2016, all before I did the 365, I had hundreds of songs in here, but like they just kept backing up. And because I wasn't sharing them as I went, which it's not even about anyone listening to them, I just filling a thing like this that no one will ever hear other than me, unless after I die someone finds it and puts them somewhere. Like, who would do that much work for me? Seriously. And that was the thought they kind of, nothing against colleges, but that's kind of the thought they put in your head when you were someone like me studying poets and philosophers and writers, playwrights. I was a dramatic literature major and a piano major. Well, it's a long story how to describe my degrees. Well, I'll just tell you. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Music with an emphasis in piano performance, and I have a Bachelor of Arts in Theater with an emphasis in dramatic literature, and I have a minor in English. But I really went to that school so I could make my own major, which was a Bachelor of Arts in Songwriting, and they didn't let me make it, which really sucked, and I was really pissed off. And Lawrence University, yeah, they didn't approve it. That was the whole reason I went to that tiny school. And a music conservatory, yes, but it was so I could make my own major. That's one of their selling points. So, anyway, but they didn't approve it, and you couldn't apply for it until you were a sophomore. Late sophomore. Oh, I was so mad. I almost transferred to Madison then. my brother went there, and my one of my former best friends, although we weren't doing well at the time. So then, yeah, I didn't transfer. I just toughed it out and wrote a musical as a senior project to kind of be like a slight FU to the program, because I had the 2 majors and a minor, and so I wrote and performed in a musical just to be like, well, here you go, here's an honors thesis project for all my majors. But whatever. I was very bitter when I was younger about a lot of things. I feel like I'm repping Shell. Cool gas station. And something I was saying. I have no idea. Life school. Do things, make art, create. Oh, songs. So these songs aren't good. Oh, yeah. So being private. I used to just be a very private person, but only because I had no idea what to do with all this. So I would spend a lot of time. Oh, yeah. And that's why I was talking about my college, because my college made me think that, like, you know, that you should create probably over 1,000 songs on this thing, and then it's just there, like, as your content for, like, someone to find after you die. Like, I probably have about 500, if I'm honest, maybe 600 or 700 journals sitting around from when I was in high school, because I fill a journal like once every 3 weeks. I mean, okay, I'm old, cool, whatever, but like, I've been filling journals for a long time, and so I don't know, like, to have like some weird grandeur in your head to think that that's gonna be something to anybody other than you is like, it wasn't healthy for me. So same with these recordings, like, I couldn't just leave them in there. I didn't know how to organize my own mind well enough to choose. I sometimes would choose ones and love them, but that was only like 2 or 3 a year. 2 or 3 songs a year out of the hundreds I was writing. Maybe sometimes closer to like 10 or 12 songs. And maybe that's the more natural flow. But then why was I writing all these other ones? Like, I just didn't know what to do with it. So putting them up on YouTube, putting them up somewhere, even just a clip on my Instagram is very, like, therapeutic for me. It makes me feel like all of those have a little bit more of a place. I can usually find at least a small clip in every song that I enjoy, or that says something that I wanted to say that day. And so that's been meaningful for me. My videos are not cutting off because I bought the iCloud, and even I'm like, ugh, why am I talking this long? I'm like, out of things to say, and I know I'm not going to edit it later, so I should just push stop. Alright, bye! Okay, I was just thinking one last thing. I just recorded background ukulele for, like, I don't know, maybe 5 different ukulele talks from 2015. Where I just talked to myself just like I'm doing now, but didn't really think I'd ever release them. I wanted to, but I didn't think I'd ever be brave enough, so what the heck is this? Anyway, yeah, so I recorded some background ukulele, and it was exhausting. And I'm tired, and I'm headed home, and I need dinner. And I was just thinking the thought as I drove kind of just past the nature that I've seen year after year for 7 years that I've lived here, and also some of these parks I've been seeing since I first started visiting way back in, like, I don't even know when I first started visiting Michigan with my ex, but Michigan is a beautiful place, and I just had this feeling like if I have a mission, if there is a mission, the closest thing I can think of to there being a mission that involves more than just me is that I'm trying to grow in learning how similar I am to all of you, whether or not I'm weird. I think being weird, it took me so long to realize that being different is okay, or okay for me. Whether or not it's okay for you, I kind of don't care. Like, I've had enough time in my life being shot down for that, so if you post comments about that, I'm not going to read them or engage, or if I do engage, it's not really about you, it's about whatever I'm feeling that day, and I'm not going to feel bad about being weird. Or if I do end up feeling bad about being weird, that's not for you, that's for me. But taking all this time to figure out what my own particular brand of weirdness is, you know, brand isn't like, I'm not trying to be weird. It took me a long time to accept it because I never wanted to be a weird person. I wanted to be one of the popular girls. I wanted to be, I guess, it's not that popular girls are all normal. It's just I wanted to be what I perceived was normal, and I could never figure out what it was. And so I just kept hiding everything. But if there is a mission, then I think the mission is to become more and more and more and more comfortable and confident that we're all the same despite our weirdnesses. And if we're all the same, you know, how can we all collectively, I guess, like, stick it to the man? Because, like, most of the world is the working class. And then some people are getting to enjoy, you know, luxuries beyond my wildest imagination. Freedoms that I've never had, as I've been tied to a working class lifestyle. And so have you, I imagine. So has probably everybody who's ever watched this. I mean, the only people who aren't tied to a working class lifestyle are, like, inheriting epic sums of money, and they can't relate to what it is to feel, I don't know. And maybe they relate to some other aspect of these, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. But, and I don't even know why I said my mission is to stick it to the man. I guess what I'm saying is, I believe that, okay, a black cat just crossed my path, and I'm not going to think too much about that. I just didn't cross my path. It's like it came out from under my car. The white Prius birthed a black cat. Oh, now it's crossing the path. Well, I'm going to have to read about that. Every time something unlucky happens to me, I try to reframe it as something lucky so that my own mind doesn't become my own worst enemy. There's got to be a lucky element to that. Like, even when the number 13 followed me for a little while. And granted, tons of numbers follow me, but, like, you know, like 212 and all these other, you know, 444. Anyway, for a while when I was noticing 13, even that I read and found that there was a lot of positive applications of 13. You should look that up. Or don't. And none of that. I mean, do you? Anyway, back to a mission. That's my mission, is, if there is any collective mission to doing these, it's to remind you to play, to remind you to create your life. Like, take each day and, like, use your day like it's a box of crayons. And, like, it's yours to use. It's yours to color with. It's yours to play with. It's yours to spend time with. It's yours to enjoy. Or not enjoy, but to process. However, whatever feels right for you. Whether it's being very social, whether it's being introverted. And that's something that, you know, they can't take that from us. You can have very little money and still find ways to enjoy your day. I remember my grandpa on my dad's side just loved to just sit and play banjo and sing very simple songs like You Are My Sunshine. And, you know, declining health or declining memory or anything. Lack of money, although he didn't have a lack of money. He was a doctor. But he did lose his money in the end. That's a long story. That's not mine to tell. But I'll say he sure loved just playing plain old banjo songs and just relaxing in that way. My mind first said there has to be a point to it all. And then I thought, no, there doesn't have to be. Or if there is one, we don't have to know it. We might never know it. And if that's the case, I want to enjoy the time that I have here. Not just enjoy, I want to use it. Like, I want to use it in ways that feels like the point for me. I don't know what the point is for you. But for some reason, doing stuff like this is the point for me. Not always, but just right now. And later, I feel like it's going to be a different point. Like, look at all this stuff. Like, who knows why? Okay. I parked right here because these trees looked cool, but these still aren't the big ones I was talking about. Anyway, hope you have a lovely day. I think that's more than long enough. I mean, these are always long enough. Everything's long enough. I don't know. Do you today. Bye. I'm a horse, FYI. So is Brian.